Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mace, your host for this album review where I am reviewing the album by the legendary, the iconic Kourosh Yaghmei and his album from the 1970s in Iran, Gole Yakh. Now the particular set of tracks, the particular release that I'm reviewing for this, just for your information, is the copy that's on Spotify right now, and that is the album cover that you can see on the screen. So we're gonna jump right into it. The original single, Gole Yakh, came out in 1973, and it was a big hit. It was a big hit in Iran, and it sold over 5 million copies. And let me preface this review just real quickly here. Some of you might ask, some of, my friends and family might ask, some of my viewers might ask, Mace, why are you reviewing a relatively obscure rock album from Persia from the 1970s, coming from, a random Canadian, a young man, a respectable young man? And why are you reviewing this album? Well, one, somebody has to do it. Two, I love discovering new music, getting suggestions from you guys, and then exploring it, dissecting it, taking it all in and giving my opinion on it. And three, because this album right here is going to be the reason henceforth that these reviews are going to come out, because this album is incredible. Let me say that right off the bat. And Kourosh Yaghmei is a legend, an icon in the psychedelic rock time capsule of music that came out of Persia in the 1970s. So let's jump right into it. Gole Yakh tuye dilam javune kalde. The album opens with Mosafir Share Baran, and right off the bat, we're getting this very, very concise, very, very welcoming, warm rock sound of the 1970s. And it's a relatively subdued opening to the album. And the album really kicks off on the second track, which is Rehan, which was also a pretty big hit in Iran at the time. And one thing I will have to say for this review is, obviously, this review is not in my first language. This review is in a language I actually don't know. There are particular tracks where I have delved into the themes and what he's getting at and what he's talking about. Rehan, from what I understand, is sort of another love ballad type song, but in a different vein than Gole Yakh. And Gole Yakh means winter flower, or the winter blossom, I believe. Gole Yakh, essentially, which is a track number 4. And Gole Yakh is by far my favorite track on this record. It has that amazing, infectious piano tune that you just can't get out of your head. It has that amazing chorus. Gole Yakh tuye dilam javune kalde. And it's just an incredible track that's really, really lasted. It's really imprinted itself upon pop culture worldwide, I believe. It's even sampled by Kanye West in the track from Nas's album Nasir in, I believe, 2017 or 2018. They sampled that piano bit. So amazing stuff that has really, really made an impact. There are moments in this album that sound distinctly like 1970s, and I was harkening back to memories of King Crimson, the British rock band, psychedelic progressive rock band, as well as some of those organ synths that pop up in this album that remind me of the Doors. Those wonderful ways they use those keyboards to create those interesting melodies, and they're just so wonderful to hear, and you don't hear stuff like that anymore. So it's nostalgic in a way, that sound. And some of the guitar licks on here and some of the production are just incredible. The entire thing is produced by Kourosh himself, and he does a bang up job, I gotta say. Our track number 3 is another one of my particular favorites. Those organ synths, those keyboards, they float on the track lightly but just wonderfully, like whispers of music, and they're great. All of these tracks have a great, wonderful psychedelic aspect to them. If I did take any sort of psychedelics or smoked marijuana or something like that, I could see, I could just see that I could see somebody going on a trip with this music, closing their eyes, and regardless of drugs were involved or anything that's a stimulant is involved, I think this type of music is incredibly just mind-bending. It's really well produced, and wholly unique. Another one of my favorite tracks on this album is the song called Entezar. I'm not sure what goes on this track lyrically or the themes and all of that, and I'm hoping you guys can let me know down in the comment section exactly some of the things that I'm missing in terms of the lyrics and the themes on this record. But those organ, that organ, the guitar progression is just incredible. It's so fun to listen to. The organ synth and the way those little popping sounds come in on that first. I wish those little popping, whatever they are, I wish those little pops, and if you listen to the track, it's in the first quarter when it builds up to that, and I don't know what instrument it is exactly, but I wish he would have used those throughout the whole track. They just sound really unique and amazing. And he layers in these almost like vocal choruses of his own voice. The melody is incredible. Track number 6, Ashkenaz, is one of the first tracks where you hear those guitar licks, those really, really just cool guitar licks, and they're layered kind of lightly in the mix and almost reminiscent of like a Jimi Hendrix record, those funky guitar licks, and they're amazing. Arbe 2 is, in my opinion, the most unique sounding song on this album. It's somewhat subdued and hard to pin down, and it makes for an interesting listen for sure. It's quiet, it's atmospheric. Track number 8, Pais, which was also a big hit, and I feel like this one is a spiritual continuation, a sequel almost to Gole Yakh. If you listen to the track Gole Yakh and then you listen to Pais afterwards, there's a certain similarity. They're like sister songs, they go together, and I really enjoy that about the album. You can just listen to these two songs and you're gonna get a real solid picture of what this record is about. Track number 10, Havar Havar. The bass line on this, folks, the bass line on this, folks. Evan Layla is really cool. The harmonies on here are amazing. The funky, dirty bass licks are just, so fun to listen to, man. This record is definitely a masterpiece in my eyes, and it was created in this lightning in a bottle phase that we'll never get again. And of course, when the Islamic Revolution happened, Kourosh was essentially unable to continue producing music. He was banned from doing so. So it really, artistically, obviously, it changed his life and sort of the output of music that we got from him later on. I think he only released a handful of records and explored other avenues in terms of his career. But some of these tracks and singles and songs that he was able to create in the 1970s, man, oh man, they are good stuff. So as a whole, I think this is a incredible piece of music. A milestone, something that was innovative, influential, and just needs to be listened to. So I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. I do feel the only knock I would give on it is some of the tracks get a little repetitive, and I'm sure with the lyrics, if I actually had an understanding of them, I could bump this up to a higher rating. But an 8 out of 10 is super solid. That's like top tier, and this is basically the first album review I've done on this channel. So if you have any recommendations for albums you want me to check out, make sure to put those down below, and we will do it in the future. But thank you for watching, my friends, my Persian friends, my friends from around the world, my Canadian friends, my American friends, everybody. Hope you're doing incredible and enjoying some good music. This one is a beautiful album, man. It's a beautiful album, and I'm glad that I went a little in depth and was able to talk about this album with you guys. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more album reviews, let me know you'd want to see down below. That was Gole Yakh by the one and only Kourosh Yaghmei. Big shout out to reactions_IR. I just want to make a big shout out to those guys, reactions_IR. They have done these translations for my channel, and it's an amazing thing. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone.